Hello my dear students, welcome back to chemistry online class. So in the last session we already discussed about the significant figure concept, the rules for counting the number of significant figures in a given number, and the one more important concept used in the numerical calculation is the rounding of significant figures or the rounding of number part. So now in the today's session we'll discuss about the calculation involving significant figures, the calculations involving significant figures, and the next important concept called as the laws of chemical combination. So before starting the calculation involving significant figures, so once we'll recall the significant figures. We all know that significant figures are the meaningful digits in an experimentally determined quantity, and these significant figures are defined as all the digits present in a given number with known certainty plus one uncertain digit. And in case of significant figures, in case of rules for counting the significant figures, so we use two important rules. The first rule is all non-zero digits are counted as significant figures, and the second rule related to the zeros. The zeros sometimes counted as a significant and sometimes they are not counted as a significant figures, students. And under the heading zeros concept, we have three different types of zeros. Can you recall what are those three different types of zeros, students? Yes, first one is leading zero, second one is captive zero, and the third category we call it as a trailing zero, students. And out of these three different types of zeros, leading zeros are not at all counted as a significant figures. Captive zeros are always counted as a significant figures, whereas trailing zeros are sometimes counted as a significance and sometimes they are not counted as a significant figures, students. And in case of trailing zeros, we use two different conditions. The first condition, if the number is greater than 1, the number is greater than 1, in such cases, so the zeros which are placed at the right end of the number, the zeros which are placed at the right of the decimal point are counted as a significant figures. Suppose the given number is less than 1. Less than 1 means in such cases the only the zeros present at the right end of the number and the zeros which are present between the two non-zero digits are counted as a significant figures, students. So all these are nothing but rules for counting the significant figure part. And in addition to these rules for significant figures, even the rules for rounding of a number is also discussed in the yesterday's class. And in that rules for rules for rounding of the numbers, so three important rules. Out of those three rules, the last important condition, if the number is equal to 5, if the number is equal to 5, in such cases the last significant figure left unchanged. If the significant figure is even, the last significant figure is increased by 1 if the last significant figure is odd number. You please remember these rules for rounding of a number and rules for counting the significant figures, students. And now in today's class we discuss about the calculations involving significant figures. See, in case of calculation involving significant figures, the first important point is for addition or subtraction. In addition or subtraction, the answer cannot have more significant figures than precise number. Please listen this first important condition carefully. So it means the answer should be reported. The answer should be reported as same number of decimal places, same number of decimal places as that of the term with least decimal places. Students, please remember this condition carefully. Now for this first condition, the example is 4.528 plus 6.4, and out of these two number, so which term contains least decimal places here? 6.24. So this number contains least number of decimal places. See, in this number after the decimal point 3 decimal places, whereas in this second term after the decimal point how many decimal places, students? 2 decimal places. And especially in case of addition as well as in case of subtraction, always the answer should be reported as the same number of decimal places as that of the term with the least decimal places. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ್ದು ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಡೆಸಿಮಲ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸಸ್ ಇರತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಯಾವ ಟರ್ಮ್ ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಡೆಸಿಮಲ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸಸ್ ಇರತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಸೊ ಸೇಮ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಡೆಸಿಮಲ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸಸ್ ಒಳಗ ನಾವು ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಅನ್ನ ರಿಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಇದು ಯಾವ ಕೇಸಸ್ ಒಳಗ್ರಿ? ಸೊ ಎಡಿಷನ್ ಇತ್ತು ಮತ್ತೆ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಈ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಅನ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋತೀವಿ. ಈಗ ನೋಡಿ 4.528 plus 6.24. If you add these two terms, you will get the answer 10.768. ಎಷ್ಟು ಬರುತ್ತಪ್ಪ ನಮಗೆ ಆನ್ಸರ್? 10.768 ಬಂತು. ಹೌದಾ? 10.768 is the answer. Now here, especially in case of addition or subtraction, always the answer should be reported as the same number of decimal places as that of the term with least number of decimal places. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಡೆಸಿಮಲ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ 2 ಡೆಸಿಮಲ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸಸ್, ಅಂದ್ರೆ 2 ಡೆಸಿಮಲ್ ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಡೆಸಿಮಲ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸಸ್ ಬರುವಂಗ ನಾವು ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಅನ್ನ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ. ಸೊ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟೆಡ್ ಆಫ್ ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ 10.768, we write it in the form of 10.77. Now tell me students, how many significant figures are present in this number? So 1 2 3 4, 4 significant figures are present in this given number, students. Is it clear? Is there any doubt in this first important condition? So now coming to the second condition, in multiplication or in division. For multiplication or division, so the answer should be reported to the same number of significant figures as is possessed by the least precise term. Listen this point carefully. So in case of multiplication or division, always the answer should be reported to the same number of significant figures as possessed by the least precise term. Now for this second condition, the example is, let us take a multiplication, 4.324 into 2.8. And out of these two terms, which one is the least precise term here? So 2.8 is the least precise term. So 2.8 is the least precise term, and this least precise term, so it has only 2 significant figures. And especially in case of multiplication or division part, always the answer should be reported to the same number of significant figures as possessed by the least precise term. So in this precise term, how many significant figures? 2 significant figures. That means in this case the result should be expressed, the result should be reported with the same significant figure as possessed by least precise term. Now here the answer is 12.1072. 12.1072. The product of these two terms is 12.1072. But instead of 12.1072, we express this answer in the form of 12. Same significant figure. The answer should be reported to the same number of significant figure as possessed by least precise term. So this term contains 2 significant figures, and here here also this contains two significant figures, students. So this is regarding the second important condition in the calculation involving significant figure part. Are you all understanding this calculation part? ನೋಡ್ರಿ ಎಡಿಷನ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಇದ್ವು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುವಂತ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ನ ನಾವೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುವಂತ ನಾವು ಆನ್ಸರ್ ನ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಸೊ ದ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ reported to same number of decimal places as that of the term with the least decimal places. ಅದು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಎಡಿಷನ್ ಮತ್ತು ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್. ಸೊ ಮಲ್ಟಿಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಡಿವಿಷನ್ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ದ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಟು ದಿ ಸೇಮ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಸಿಗ್ನಿಫಿಕೆಂಟ್ ಫಿಗರ್ಸ್ ಆಸ್ possessed by the least precise term. Okay, this is about the second important condition in calculation involving significant figures. And now the third important condition is if the calculation involves a series of steps, if the calculation involves number of steps, in such cases always the answer should contain same number of significant figures as that of least precise number. Listen this concept carefully. Should contain same number of significant figures as that of least precise number. And for this third condition, the example is here. And this example, it contains a series of steps, multiplication and division also. Okay, in such condition, so if we calculate this one, we will get the answer 44.84784. What is the answer here, students? 44.84784. This is the exact number. This is the actual answer. But here, in case of calculation involving a number of steps or series of steps, always the answer should contain same number of significant figures as that of least precise number. And in this case, the least precise number is 3. Least precise number is 3 means so 3 significant figures. The answer should be in the form of 3 significant figures only. So instead of writing this actual answer, let us represent this number in the form of 44.8. So 44.8. Yes, tell me students, how many significant figures are present? So 3 significant figures are present here. So all these are nothing but the important conditions used under calculations. Okay, so this is all about the calculation involving a significant figure concept. Is there any doubt in this? Is it clear, students? Of these significant figures, rules for counting the significant figures, rounding of significant figure concept, and the calculation involving the significant figures. In the numerical calculation part, we use some more important terminologies. One is precision, second one we call it as accuracy, third one is called as error, fourth one is exact number, and the fifth one is called as a dimensional analysis, or it is also called as a unit factor method. So all these terms are also used under the numerical calculation part only. Okay, now out of these 5 terminologies, the first term called as precision. Listen this word carefully. So the word precision refers how closely 2 or more measurements of the same quantity agree with one another. That itself we call it as the precision, students. Listen the definition of a precision carefully. The precision refers how closely 2 or more measurements of the same quantity agree with one another. Listen the example for this precision, students. Let us consider the mass of the chemical substance. Let us take a 5 gram of a chemical substance. If you weigh the mass of a chemical substance 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, or more than 4 times, so every time you will get the same number. That means same mass of the substance only. That means same 5 grams. Okay, that itself is nothing but a precision, students. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈಗ ನಾ 5 ಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ತಗೊಂಡು ವೇ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ವೇ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗೂ 5 ಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಟೈಮ್ ವೇ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗೂ 5 ಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, 3 ಟೈಮ್ಸ್ 4 ಟೈಮ್ಸ್ ನೀವು 5 ಟೈಮ್ಸ್ ವೇ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ದ ಮಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಂಟ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ, ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ರಿಗಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ದಿ ಪ್ರಿಸಿಷನ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್. And now coming to the second important point, that is accuracy. The second terminology is accuracy, and this accuracy refers the degree of agreement between the true value and the measured value or calculated value or determined value. That is nothing but accuracy. Accuracy, accurate. In accuracy or accurate, ಈಗ ನೋಡ್ರಿ ನಾವು ಕೆಲವೊಮ್ಮೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಅಥವಾ ಕೆಲವೊಮ್ಮೆ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಷನ್ ಅನ್ನ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಕ್ಯುರೇಟ್. ಕೆಲವೊಮ್ಮೆ ನಾವು ಹೇಳ್ತಿರ್ತೇವೆ ಅಕ್ಯುರೇಟ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್, ಐ ಗಾಟ್ ಅಕ್ಯುರೇಟ್ ರಿಸಲ್ಟ್, ಐ ಗಾಟ್ ಅಕ್ಯುರೇಟ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್. ಅಕ್ಯುರಸಿ, ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ ದ ಡಿಗ್ರಿ ಆಫ್ ಅಗ್ರಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ದಿ ಟ್ರೂ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಅಂಡ್ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟೆಡ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ. So the best example, I think you all know that the acceleration due to gravity value is 9.8 meter per second square. ಹೌದಾ, acceleration due to gravity ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ ರೀ? 9.8 into 9.8 meter per second square ಇದೆ. ಹೌದಾ, ನೀವು ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗೂ ನಿಮಗೆ ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ 9.8 ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಬಂತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಅಕ್ಯುರಸಿ. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ ದ ಡಿಗ್ರಿ ಆಫ್ ಅಗ್ರಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ದಿ ಥೆರಾಟಿಕಲ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಅಂಡ್ ದ ಮೇಜರ್ಡ್ ಆರ್ ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಸ್ ಅ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟೆಡ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ, ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್. That is regarding the second terminology called as accuracy or accurate. Okay, and now coming to the third one, error. The third one is nothing but error. Error, it is nothing but the difference between the true value and the calculated value. The error, it is nothing but the difference between the theoretical value and the calculated value. That is regarding the error part. And just now I given one example, that acceleration due to gravity, the value of acceleration due to gravity is 9.8 meter per second square. This is the theoretical value or this is the true value for acceleration due to gravity. And during the calculation, or if you calculate the acceleration due to gravity, if you got 9.8 exact answer, means it is nothing but accurate, or we call it as accuracy. Suppose instead of 9.8, sometime during the calculation part you may get less than 9.8 or you may get more than 9.8. So either you will get 9.7 or you may get 9.9. 9.7 means 0.1 difference. That 0.1 difference itself we call it as an error, students. Are you all understanding this point? Is it clear? ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಬಂದು 9.8 ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ನಾವು ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ನಿಮಗೆ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ 9.7 ಬಂತು, 9.6 ಬಂತು, 9.9 ಬಂತು, 9.10 ಬಂತು, ಈ ತರ 9.9 ಬಂತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಟ್ರೂ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಗೆ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟೆಡ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ನಡುವೆ ನಮಗೆ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಬರಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಯ್ತು. 0.1, 0.2, 0.3 ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಬಂತು. ಆ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ನಾವೇನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ? ಎರರ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. I repeat the definition. Error, it is defined as the difference between a true value and a calculated value, students. And the fourth important term is called as exact number. The fourth one is called as exact number. 5 pens in a box, 10 apples in a box, 1 dozen banana. Sorry, 1 dozen. So here exact number, listen, exact number, the number which is determined by actual counting is called as an exact number. 5 chalk pieces are present in my hand. How these 5 chalk pieces are present in my hand, and this number is determined by actual counting. So 1, here it is 2, here it is 3, then 4 and 5. How many chalk pieces? 5 chalk pieces. How this number is determined? By actual counting. So the number which is obtained by actual counting is called as an exact number, student. The fourth important term used under numerical calculation part. And now coming to the last terminology, that is dimensional analysis, or it is also called as a unit factor method. And here dimensional analysis, so this dimensional analysis, it is the method used to convert, the units of one system. So the unit dimensional analysis, it is the method used to convert units from one system to another system. That itself we call it as a dimensional analysis, or we call it as a unit factor method. Okay, this is about the fifth important terminology. And already you come across all these 5 terms in the physics part also. ಹೌದಾ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಲ್ಲ ಟರ್ಮ್ಸ್, ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಟರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಡೀಟೇಲ್ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಫಿಸಿಕ್ಸ್ ಒಳಗೂ ಬರ್ತಾವೆ. ಹೌದಾ, ಸೊ ಇನ್ ಕೆಮಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಯು ಜಸ್ಟ್ ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್ ದೀಸ್ ಡೆಫಿನೇಷನ್ಸ್, ಜಸ್ಟ್ ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್ ದಿ ಡೆಫಿನೇಷನ್ಸ್. ಬರೀ ಡೆಫಿನೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಅಷ್ಟು ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಸಾಕು. ಒನ್ ಇಸ್ ಪ್ರಿಸಿಷನ್, ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಒನ್ ಇಸ್ ಅಕ್ಯುರೇಸಿ, ಥರ್ಡ್ ಒನ್ ಇಸ್ ಎರರ್, ಫೋರ್ತ್ ಒನ್ ಇಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ ನಂಬರ್, ಅಂಡ್ ದ ಫಿಫ್ತ್ ಒನ್ ಇಸ್ ಡೈಮೆನ್ಷನಲ್ ಅನಾಲಿಸಿಸ್, ಆರ್ ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಸ್ ಅ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಮೆಥಡ್. ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್, is there any doubt in these 5 terminologies? Yes, tell me what is mean by precision. The precision refers how closely 2 or more measurements of the same quantity agree with one another. Then tell me what is mean by accuracy. The degree of agreement between the true value and measured value. Yes, now tell me what is mean by error. The difference between true value and calculated value. Now tell me what is mean by an exact number. The number which is determined by actual counting is called as an exact number, students. Now the last term is dimensional analysis or unit factor method. Yes, what is mean by this unit factor method? So it is the method used to convert units from one system to another system. That itself we call it as a dimensional analysis, or we call it as a unit factor method. Students, is there any doubt in all these 5 points? Is it clear? The next important concept in this, some basic concept of chemistry, is the laws of chemical combination. Students, we all know that there is no chemistry without chemical reactions, and already you know what are the different types of chemical reactions also. Okay, and here in case of laws of chemical combination, the various types of chemical reactions take place according to certain laws. So this itself we call it as laws of chemical combination. Listen it carefully, students. The various types of different types of chemical reactions take place according to certain laws in chemistry. So this is known as laws of chemical combination, students. And under the heading laws of chemical combinations, we have totally 5 important laws. According to NCERT, 5 important laws under laws of chemical combination, students. So the first one is law of conservation of mass, second one is law of constant proportion, or it is called as law of definite proportion, third one is law of multiple proportion, fourth one is law of combining volumes, or it is also called as Gay-Lussac's law of combining volumes. And the fifth important law itself we call it as Avogadro's law. All these laws comes under the laws of chemical combination, students. And in addition to these 5 laws, So from the competitive examination point of view, the one more important additional information under the law of chemical combination is law of reciprocal proportion. And this law of reciprocal proportion, it is an additional information under laws of chemical combination, students. So let us discuss each law with example. The first one is the law of conservation of mass. So before the statement of this law of conservation of mass, so let us take an example of decomposition of limestone. Decomposition of limestone. Yes, tell me students, what is the chemical name of limestone? Yes, calcium carbonate is the chemical name of limestone, students. The decomposition of limestone or the decomposition of calcium carbonate. So when it undergo thermal decomposition, so this calcium carbonate, it splits into calcium oxide and the second compound is carbon dioxide, students. So this is the balanced chemical equation for the decomposition of limestone or for the decomposition of calcium carbonate, students. And now you please recall the atomic mass concept and molecular mass from bridge course part. You please recall the atomic mass and molecular mass concept from bridge course. By using these two concepts, let us calculate the molecular mass of calcium carbonate, molecular mass of calcium oxide and molecular mass of carbon dioxide, students. Now here in case of calcium carbonate, so one calcium atom is present, one carbon and three oxygen atoms are present. So calcium, what is the atomic mass? The atomic mass of calcium is how much? 40. 40 is the atomic mass of calcium plus carbon. What is the atomic mass of carbon, students? 12 is the atomic mass. Plus oxygen. How many oxygen atoms are present? 3 oxygen. What is the atomic mass of oxygen atom, students? Yes, 16 is the atomic mass. So 16 into 3, 48. This is the mass of oxygen in a calcium carbonate, student. Now add these 3. So 48 plus 12, 60. 60 plus 40, 100. The total mass of this calcium carbonate in this reaction is 100 grams, students. So is it clear? Now similarly you calculate the mass of calcium oxide and carbon dioxide in this reaction. So once again in calcium oxide, one calcium atom and one oxygen atom. The atomic mass of calcium is 40 and the atomic mass of oxygen is 16. 40 plus 16, how much, students? 56 gram. 56 gram is the mass of calcium oxide in this balanced chemical equation, students. Now similarly on the other hand, carbon dioxide, one carbon is present and two oxygen atoms are present. One carbon, the mass of carbon is 12 plus 2 oxygen atom. The atomic mass of one oxygen is 16. So 16 into 2, 32. So 32 plus 12, the total mass of carbon dioxide is 44 gram. 100 gram of calcium carbonate when undergo thermal decomposition, it gives 56 gram of calcium oxide and 44 gram of carbon dioxide, students. Now if you combine the mass of these two chemical substances, so once again you will get 100 grams. Listen this example carefully. The mass of the reactant in a chemical reaction is equal to the mass of the product in the same chemical reaction. So this itself we call it as law of conservation of mass, students. Is there any doubt in this example? Is it clear? So now here, So I repeat the statement. So by using this example, the law of conservation of mass, it states that the total mass of the reactant in a chemical reaction is equal to the total mass of the products in a same chemical reaction. So this itself we call it as law of conservation of mass. Or the one more statement for this law of conservation of mass is mass can neither be created nor be destroyed. I repeat, mass can neither be created nor be destroyed. So that itself is nothing but the law of conservation of mass, students. And here, this law of conservation of mass was given by the scientist name called as Anthony Laurent Lavoisier. The name of the scientist name called as Anthony Laurent Lavoisier. So he introduced this law of conservation of mass, student. And here one of the important limitation of this law of conservation of mass is, so this law, it is not applicable for the nuclear phenomenon. So why this law is not applicable for nuclear phenomenon, students? Because in nuclear phenomenon, the mass of the reactant is not equal to the mass of the product. So that's why it is not applicable for the nuclear phenomenon or in a nuclear reaction, students. So this is about the first important law called as law of conservation of mass. Yes, tell me, student, what is the statement of law of conservation of mass? The mass can neither be created nor be destroyed, or the total mass of the reactant in a chemical reaction is equal to the total mass of the products in a same chemical reaction. So either you can write the first statement or you can use the second statement. Both are same one. Okay. Is there any doubt in this law? This is about the law of conservation of mass. And now coming to the second important law. The second important law is the law of constant proportion, or it is also called as law of definite proportion, students. Law of constant proportion or law of definite proportion. And before the statement of this law of a constant or the law of a definite proportion, so let us take an example for the second law of chemical combination. Okay, so let us take water molecule. So this water molecule, it is obtained from the natural sources. It is obtained from the natural sources like a river, natural source like a well, natural source like a sea, and so on. It is obtained from the natural sources, students. And the same water molecule, it is also obtained in the laboratory by burning hydrogen with oxygen molecule, students. Listen this point carefully. ನೋಡಿ, ಸೇಮ್ ಕಂಪೌಂಡ್ ನಾವು ನ್ಯಾಚುರಲ್ ಸೋರ್ಸ್ ಇಂದಾನು ಪಡ್ಕೋಬಹುದು, ಅದೇ ಕಂಪೌಂಡ್ ನಾವು ಲ್ಯಾಬೋರೇಟರಿ ಒಳಗೂ ಜನರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಸೊ ಲ್ಯಾಬೋರೇಟರಿ ಒಳಗೆ ನಾವು ಹೆಂಗೆ ಜನರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ದ ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನ್ ವೆನ್ ಬರ್ನ್ಸ್ ವಿತ್ ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ಇಟ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ವಾಟರ್ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್. ಓಕೆ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸೇಮ್ ಕಂಪೌಂಡ್ ನಾವು ಮೋರ್ ದನ್ ಒನ್ ಮೆಥಡ್ ಇಂದ ನಾವು ಪಡ್ಕೋತೀವಿ. So otherwise, let us take one more example. One more example is carbon dioxide. So this carbon dioxide, it is obtained by burning carbon with oxygen molecule. The same carbon dioxide, it is obtained by the decomposition of calcium carbonate, and the same carbon dioxide, it is also obtained by the decomposition of sodium hydrogen carbonate. Listen this third example carefully. Carbon dioxide, it is obtained by burning carbon with oxygen molecule. The same carbon dioxide it is obtained by the decomposition of calcium carbonate, and the same carbon dioxide it is also obtained by the decomposition of sodium hydrogen carbonate, or it is also called as sodium bicarbonate. Listen this point carefully, students. By the decomposition of sodium bicarbonate, so you get the product sodium carbonate, then carbon dioxide and water molecule. So this is the third example. The same compound is prepared with the help of three different methods. ನೋಡಿ ಒಂದೇ compound ನ ನಾವು three different way ಒಳಗ so prepare ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. Okay, so with the help of these two examples, the law of constant proportion or the law of definite proportion, it is defined as, or it states that a chemical compound, however prepared, listen this statement carefully, a chemical compound however prepared containing same elements combines with each other in a fixed proportion by mass, in a constant proportion by mass. That itself we call it as a law of constant or law of definite proportion, students. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ರಿ ವಾಟರ್ ನ ನಾವು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ತಗೊಂಡ್ವಿ. ಇದು ನೀವು ನ್ಯಾಚುರಲ್ ಸೋರ್ಸ್ ಇಂದ ನಾದ್ರೂ ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ ಆಬ್ಟೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಡ್ರಿ ಅಥವಾ ಆರ್ಟಿಫಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಆಗಿದ್ರು ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ರಿ. A chemical compound however prepared containing the same elements combines with each other in a fixed whole number ratio by mass. That itself we call it as a law of a constant or law of definite proportion. ಹೌದಾ? ಸೊ ಈಗ ನೋಡಿ ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನ್, ಸೊ ದ ರೇಷಿಯೋ 2:16 or we can write it as 1:8 ratio. ಇಲ್ಲಿನೂ ಸೇಮ್ thing even in carbon dioxide also. It is obtained by burning carbon with oxygen. It is obtained by the decomposition of limestone. It is also obtained by the decomposition of sodium bicarbonate, students. In all these three cases, so the carbon dioxide so containing same elements carbon and oxygen in a fixed whole number ratio by mass. That means the mass of carbon is 12 and the mass of oxygen is 16 into 232. This is the simple whole number ratio, students. So this is regarding the second important law called as the law of constant proportion, or we call it as a law of definite proportion, students. Is there any doubt in this example? Is there any doubt in this second law? I repeat the statement. A chemical compound however prepared containing same elements combines with each other in a fixed whole number ratio by mass. That is the statement of a second important law. Or the one more statement, or the law of constant proportion, it states that whatever may be the source of a compound, the constituent elements of the compound are always in the same constant proportion. Either you can write the first one or you can write the second one, students. So this is regarding the second important law called as a law of definite proportion, or it is also called as law of constant proportion. And this law of constant proportion was given by the scientist name called as Joseph Prost. The previous law was given by Anthony Laurent Lavoisier, whereas law of constant proportion was given by the scientist name called as Joseph Prost. And again in this second law also, One of the important drawback of this second law of chemical combination is, so this law is not applicable for the element which exist in a different isotopic form. Please remember this limitation or the drawback, or it is also called as the demerit of law of constant proportion or law of definite proportion. Students, is there any doubt in this law? This law is clear, students. The first one is law of conservation of mass, and the second one is law of constant proportion or the law of definite proportion. Students, based on today's class, these are the assignment questions. Students, the first question: define the following terms. First one precision, second one exact number, third one is accuracy, and the fourth one is error. Second one is state law of conservation of mass. State law of conservation of mass. And the third question is state law of constant proportion or state law of definite proportion. Students, so all these are today's assignment questions. Okay, so with this I conclude my today's class. So in the next session we'll discuss about the other three important laws of chemical combinations with one additional information, with one additional law, that is law of reciprocal proportion. Along with these laws of chemical combination, we'll discuss about the Dalton's atomic theory. Okay.